This is Newsmax TV. I'm Ashley Martella. The long-awaited midterm elections are only days away now. One of the top-rated radio talk show hosts in the nation, Michael Savage, is out with his latest book entitled Trickle Up Poverty, Stopping Obama's Attack on Our Borders, Economy, and Security. And the New York Times best-selling author is on the line with us right now to discuss it. Welcome to Newsmax again, Michael.
Oh, I'm glad to be with you. I love Newsmax. I read it every day.
Thank you. We understand the timing of the release of your book was no accident.
No, it was no accident. Trickle Up Poverty says it all, because I don't think there's a listener out there, no matter what their economic status is, who doesn't recognize that the Marxist policies of the Obama-ites are aimed straight at the heart of the middle class, who, by the way, is suffering the most. The rich aren't doing worse. The poor are still collecting their government checks. Who's getting hit? The middle class. And that's why I call it Trickle Up Poverty.
Well, you say the middle class is getting hammered and is shrinking. Now, please explain that in reference to the Obama-Pelosi-Reid agenda.
Well, you see, people don't realize that if you look at the college Marxists, and I've lived around them, I did years ago, remember they always disparaged the bourgeoisie, the middle class, while they were collecting their fat tenure checks?
Indeed.
Bourgeoisie means the middle class. It's what defined America for many, many centuries, or for a couple of centuries anyway. Let us say for at least 150 years. It's the great middle class that made America unique. The bourgeoisie has been the target of these Marxists, these czars, and frankly, each one of their policies, whether it's the Obamacare or the taxation, you name it, regulation, who pays it? The middle class. And that's why there's an uproar in the country. That's why the Tea Parties are surging. That's why Tea Party candidates are showing so well in polls, because the people who actually pay the taxes are revolting. And I hope to God they revolt at the ballot box.
Michael, why do you think they target the bourgeoisie or the middle class?
Because, look at this. What was the classic definition of a socialist society? Let's take the ex-Soviet Union. It was a two-class society. There were the bureaucrats, or those who worked for the government, and then there were the rest of the people who were basically serfs. There was virtually no middle class in the ex-Soviet Union. And here in America, the middle class is the enemy of the Obama administration. No matter what they say, if you look at the czars he's hired, they've either extolled Mao Zedong, Anita Dunn did that, or the others. It was either Karl Marx or Mao Zedong. These are all hardcore Marxist socialists. And so Trickle Up Poverty says it all. You know, Obama came across as a Robin Hood who was going to rob from the rich and give to the poor. The exact opposite is true. He's not robbing from the poor to give to the rich. He's shrinking the middle class to give to the rich and the poor.
Do you think, Michael, enough voters are getting the message along the lines of what you're talking about?
Every poll indicates they are. Take a look even at Harry Reid. Incumbent, many years, powerful union, a union backing. He's in trouble against Sharon Engel, who is fundamentally the darling of the Tea Party, and I think this mirrors what's going on around the country. People have had enough of the old girl network.
Since your radio show, The Savage Nation, is based in San Francisco, how do you see the California Senate and governor's races shaping up?
Oh, goodness. Well, whoever wins, it's going to be the same middle-of-the-road approach. There's no way you can get a conservative revolution going in this state. With the large number of illegal aliens and such, I don't see how, when you have politicians pandering to the large numbers of illegals who they want to vote for them, which is a shame unto itself that illegals can vote, because they do, because they've blocked every chance for voter ID. I don't see any candidate coming along the lines of a third party or a Tea Party candidate. I mean, Meg Whitman, I would vote for her because she's a businesswoman. Jerry Brown's a career politician and a radical leftist at that. But beyond her business experience, I don't see any social conservatism, but she's the best we're going to get. As far as the Senate goes, same thing is mirrored in the Fiorina debate versus Barbara Boxer, anyone but Boxer. At least Fiorina had some business experience, so she knows what it is to run a business. So we have to go in that direction. But again, they both avoided the illegal immigration problem and so many other social ills.
Michael, you've remarked on the whole slew of Obama administration officials that have exited, including his chief of staff and the top people on his economic team. What does that tell you?
It tells us that not only, well, it's like a sinking ship. and the crew is jumping off because they don't want to go down with the ship, is what I see happening. They just want to be gone before it hits the ship in November. It hits the big iceberg in November. I mean, Obama's taken this great ship of state and steered it right onto the against the iceberg, which is just scraping the hull right now. It hasn't gutted the hull, and the ship isn't sinking. But believe me, they know that he steered it so far to the left that they better get off before he hits the big one.
Your book, Trickle Up Poverty, has a 37-point program to reverse it. In reading it, some of it seems like pretty basic stuff, justifying new legislation under the Constitution, rejecting cap and trade, demanding a balanced budget, ending runaway government spending, all but eliminating earmarks, closing and defending the borders, and so forth. Now, those points sound an awful lot like what Tea Party activists have been demanding. Are you optimistic that most or at least some of those points will be adopted because of public sentiment?
You know, the interesting part is that the Tea Parties have a good contract from America, a 10-pointer. But there are many things that they don't have in there, and most of them have to do with, I've noticed many of the Tea Parties will not take on the illegal immigration problem, and they don't touch on the social issues that I touch on. And I think the social issues are very important to many of the American people, such as defend the Defense of Marriage Act is one of my points, end affirmative action, limit welfare benefits, voting reform. I don't see any of that in the Tea Party platform. I put it in hoping that they would remember that the masses of conservative Americans still care about these social issues.
Shifting to Republicans, were you impressed at all with the Pledge to America they released a few weeks ago?
It was a good pledge, but again, didn't go far enough. It went to the 50th or 60th percentile of what voters really want, meaning the people who are up in arms and screaming. And I think that in Trickle Up Poverty, I actually went to where the people want to go. All the issues that the Republicans mentioned, for example, they mention reducing government, but they don't say how. There are no specific targets. In my book, I actually describe how to reduce government and by how much per year to get this budget under control.
Should the Republican Party fully embrace Tea Party activists, and if so, why?
Well, it's an interesting question. They're afraid to do so for fear that they're going to be smeared as an extremist party. On the other hand, if they don't embrace this surge that's going on in the country, they're going to lose the momentum of the true grassroots, excitement that's going on in the nation. What came out just now in today's news I found very interesting, and it says voters more likely to see Democrats as extremists. Can you believe this one? Likely voters in battleground districts see extremists as having a more dominant influence over the Democrat Party than they do over the GOP. And this came out from thehill.com. I think it's very interesting.
All right, you do advocate something we don't hear much about. You'd like to see tariffs imposed on imports from China. Why do you think that would be a good thing?
Well, because they're burying us. They are controlling the world's economy by keeping their currency too low so that they can continue to export cheaply. You know what I'm saying? And also it cripples those of us in other countries who want to export to China. And so unless we impose tariffs on their goods, we're going to lose every industry. We have lost our machining industry, lost our steel industry. We virtually lost most of our auto industry. Unless tariffs are put on their goods, the few industries that remain in this nation that are viable are liable to disappear very, very shortly. And the only way to save America is to institute tariffs on specified industries and to rebuild the manufacturing base of the United States of America.
And finally, in your words from previous interview, President Obama is a lifetime Marxist. Do you put members of Congress in that same category? And if so, most notably who?
It's a great question. I think you've got to look at the voting records. Now, first of all, people are going to say, how can you prove it? I spend chapter after chapter proving that Obama is not only a lifetime Marxist, he's a lifetime pan-Leninist, which is quite different. It's a variety of Marxism. It's a more virulent form of Marxism. If you look at Congress, all you've got to look at the voting records. Whoever has the most liberal voting record, basically they're fellow travelers. That's how I see it.
Again, the name of the book, Trickle Up Poverty, Stopping Obama's Attack on Our Borders, Economy, and Security. Michael Savage, thanks very much and good luck.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on Newsmax.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.